Clint Walker, and you're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Clint. And I'm Randy Hansen. In today's world news headlines, over 150 arrested in Occupy Wall Street as it marks its first anniversary. The judge rejects mayor's effort to end Chicago strike. An Obama administration appeals overruling of indefinite detention under NDAA. And the White House says reprieve doesn't confer health care rights for undocumented immigrants. And Romney says 47% of U.S. backing Obama dependent on government. And he also says it would be helpful to be Latino in the 2012 election. And Obama administration files WTO challenge to Chinese auto subsidies. And 12 killed in Afghan suicide bombing as film protests spread. And the NATO reduces joint operations with Afghan forces. And the United Nations says August deadliest month of Syrian conflict. And Shell delays Alaskan oil drilling. And Pennsylvania pardons board rejects clemency for sex abuse victim. GVTV News is broadcast from Grass Valley Television, the division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focuses on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, Occupy Wall Street movement celebrated its one-year anniversary on Monday with actions in New York City and other cities across the country. In Manhattan, protesters tried to block access to the New York Stock Exchange by erecting a People's Wall. Amanda Montgomery said, "Today is Occupy Wall Street's birthday, and we are celebrating. We are rising above all the corruption and police brutality that could happen, that has happened already." And E.O. Stubblefield said, "I myself had never in all my 57 years seen anything like Zuccotti Park, and I personally had been waiting for 10 years for something, and I have no idea that the kids were going to rise up like that. I'm so proud of them." Overall, more than 150 people were arrested, including half a dozen journalists. Monday's action saw a lower turnout than expected, about 1,000 people taking part in protests, far lower than numbers seen last fall. And a federal judge has denied Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel's effort to forcefully end the city's week-long teachers' strike ahead of a vote by the union later yesterday. Emanuel had sought a court order declaring the strike illegal. But on Monday, a circuit court judge said he will not consider the request until after union delegates decide on whether to proceed with the strike at a meeting that was set for last night. In a statement, Chicago Teachers Union blasted Emanuel's efforts, calling it a vindictive act. And for what I understand, they voted to continue their strike. The Obama administration has filed an emergency appeal in federal judge's decision last week to block controversial statute that gave the government the power to carry out indefinite detention. Judge Catherine Forrest ruled against the provision of the National Defense Authorization Act, or the NDAA, authorizing imprisonment of anyone deemed a terrorism suspect anywhere in the world without charge or trial. A group of journalists, scholars, and political activists had brought a case arguing the provision was so broad it could easily infringe on the freedom of speech. In a court ruling on Monday, the government argued Judge Forrest's ruling should go beyond the statute itself and curb the indefinite provisions contained in the legislation authorizing the so-called post-9/11 war on terror, potentially jeopardizing the imprisonment of foreigners in Afghanistan without charge. And the White House has quietly announced a young immigrants able to remain in the United States as part of a recent immigration reprieve will not be eligible for health insurance under the new federal health care law. The new immigration program grants temporary legal status to live and work in the country to undocumented people who meet certain conditions, including being under 31 as of June 15th. But in a ruling late last month, the White House said the federal health care law excludes undocumented immigrants because they still fall between the definition of a lawful present resident. In a separate statement, the administration also explicitly decreed that young immigrants covered by the reprieve will not be eligible for Medicaid or children's health insurance programs. Immigrants' rights groups have denounced the decision, calling it reactionary and inhumane. And Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney has sparked what could be the biggest political firestorm facing his campaign to date. A newly unearthed recording released by the magazine Mother Jones, Romney tells a crowd of donors he thinks 47% of Americans are dependent on government and see themselves as victims. Mitt Romney had said there are 47% of the people who vote for the president no matter what. That's all right. There are 47% who are with him and who are dependent upon the government and who believe that they are victims and believe the government are responsible to care for them and who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, and you name it. And that's its entitlement. The government should give it to them and they will vote for this president no matter what. And I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 48. He starts off with a huge number. Those are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message to low-income taxes doesn't connect. So he'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that they sell every 4 years. And your job, my job, is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives. What I have to do is convince the 5 to 10% in the center. Obama campaign immediately pounced on Romney's remarks, saying it's hard to serve as president for all Americans when you disdainfully write off half the nation. In his hastily arranged news conference last night, Romney said that the words were not elegantly stated. He stood by his substance. He said, well, you know, it's not elegantly stated, but let me put it that way. I'm speaking off the cuff in response to a question I'm sure that could be more clearly and more effective than I did in a setting like that. And so I'm sure I'll point out as time goes on, we don't even have the question given in the snippet there, nor the full response. I hope the person who has the video would put out the full material, which they won't. And I'm convinced that the president approach has not done that and will not do that. In comments that have received less attention, Mitt Romney is also heard on original tape joking to his audience that he would have a better chance of election had he been born a Latino. He said, my heritage, my dad, as you probably know, was the governor of Michigan and was the head of the car company, but he was born in Mexico, and had he been born a Mexican parents, I'd have better shot at winning this, but he was unfortunately born in Americans living in Mexico, and he lived there for a number of years, and I mean, I say that jokingly, but it would be helpful to be Latino. Just hours before these comments came to light on Tuesday, Romney spoke in Los Angeles in a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in a bid to woo Latino voters. The Obama administration has filed a challenge to the World Trade Organization accusing China of unfairly subsidizing its auto and auto parts industries. Announcing the move during a campaign stop in Ohio, President Obama took a shot at Republican rival Mitt Romney. And he said he made money investing in companies that uprooted from here and went to China, pioneers. Now, Ohio, you can't stand up to China when all you've done is sent them our jobs. Today, my administration is launching a new action against China, this one against illegal subsidies, and encourage companies to ship auto parts manufacturing jobs overseas. These are subsidies that directly harm working men and women in assembly lines in Ohio, Michigan, and across the Midwest. At least 12 people have been killed, including 9 foreigners, in a suicide bombing in Afghanistan. A militant group has claimed responsibility for the attack, calling it revenge for the anti-Islam film that has sparked anger in Muslim countries worldwide. On Monday, demonstrations against the film continued to flare, with new protests reported in Indonesia, Pakistan, Lebanon, and Iran. The U.S. and led NATO occupation in Afghanistan, meanwhile, says it has scaled back operations with members of the Afghan forces in a bid to reduce attacks on coalition troops. At least 51 foreign soldiers, most of them Americans, have been killed in attacks carried out by Afghan police and soldiers so far this year. On Monday, NATO spokesperson Gunter Kotz also confirmed up to 8 civilians had been killed in a U.S. airstrike on a village in eastern Afghanistan. He also said, "I can confirm the number of Afghan civilians were unintentionally killed or injured during the mission, which was undertaken solely with the intent of countering known insurgents. ISAF, or International Security Assistance Forces, takes full responsibility for this tragedy." And the United Nations has confirmed August was the deadliest month so far in Syria's 18-month-long armed conflict between President Bashar al-Assad and armed rebels. UN Special Coordinator Robert Seri said the toll continues to grow with no signs of slowing down. He also said the month of August registered the highest number of casualties thus far, and this toll is growing. More than 2.5 million people, including refugees from Palestine and Iraq, now need assistance and protection inside Syria. As conditions deteriorate, we see dangerous implications for Syria's neighbors. The oil giant Shell has announced it will delay oil drilling in the Alaskan Arctic until at least next summer after suffering damage to a spill containment dome during a test. Shell began the drilling early this month over the objections of indigenous environmental groups who say the project would both take advantage of and contribute to the problem of receding sea ice. Pennsylvania's Board of Pardon has denied clemency to a death row convict convicted of murdering his sexual abuser. Terrence Terry Williams is scheduled to be executed next month for the 1984 murder of Amos Norwood. Norwood had sexually abused Williams over a number of years up until the night before Williams took revenge by ending Norwood's life. Advocates of child sexual abuse victims had urged leniency for Williams because jurors were not informed of all the facts, including that Williams had been sexually abused by other men. Williams is now asking the state court to issue a stay of execution. And that's it for the World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the Rock and Roll Connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter and pictures in the blotter, not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained in daily logs issued from Nevada County Law Enforcement, Grass Valley Police Department, on Wednesday. 7:47 a.m. a report was taken from 100 block of Bank Street of graffiti. 11:51 a.m. a report was taken from 300 block of Pleasant Street of a physical fight might have about to be occur or whatever, and nothing was located. 2:09 p.m. a woman from 12,000 block in Nevada City Highway reported a man took her cell phone and car keys. He could not be located. And 3:04 p.m. a report was taken from 200 block of South Auburn Street of finding 2 syringes in a garbage can, which were collected for destruction. 3:16 p.m. a man from 1400 block of Sedgeworth Way reported a woman took a vehicle without permission. He called back to report she had returned it. And 3:36 p.m. a report was taken from Memorial Park of physical fight. Man was arrested on suspicion of violating probation. And 3:45 p.m. a report was taken from 300 block of East Maryland Drive of residential burglary with a 50-inch TV missing. And at 3:51 p.m. a man from Freeman Lane reported a man threw an item and hit him in the head. And 4 p.m. a man reported being assaulted but was uncooperative. And 5:19 p.m. a report was taken from Rhode Island Street of a man possibly stealing mail who could not be located. And 5:36 p.m. a report was taken from Highway 49, a truck weaving on the shoulder. Driver was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence. At 5:50 p.m. a report was taken from 100 block of West Bear Hill Drive. A vehicle hit a girl yesterday and fled the scene. In 5:52 p.m. a report was taken from 200 block of East Main Street of 6 men possibly involved in a drug deal. And 6:54 p.m. a report was taken from 400 block of Pine Street of a physical fight. No one was located. And 7:11 p.m. a report was taken from Memorial Park of a belligerent man laid hands on a caller. Person was cited for loitering, and no further charges were desired. 9:09 p.m. a report was taken from 200 block of Mill Street of a physical fight involving two men who could not be located. And Thursday, 1:32 a.m., a report was taken from 100 block of Bank Street of people being loud. And 2:06 a.m., a report was taken from 300 block of Pleasant Street of two drunken men wanting to fight. They were going in for the night. And Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday at 9:19 a.m., a woman from 18,000 block of McCourtney Road reported a man was removing her belongings from a house. The situation was mediated. And at 10:09 a.m., a report was taken of a lot of screaming and drug activity at a transit camp in Hell's Half Acre. 10:59 a.m., a report was taken from Lowell Hill Road of a trespasser charging at a caller and threatening a caller at a mining claim. The other party reported the first party brandished a loaded handgun. And 11:19 a.m., a woman from 10,000 block of Del Bonita Way reported that a man rattled her front door and then tried to get through the sliding glass door before leaving. He could not be located. At 11:38 a.m., a woman from Deer Creek Lane reported possible theft of medication and jewelry by an employee. 11:50 a.m., a report was taken from Western Gateway Park of a dog attacking a person. And 12:47 p.m., a report was taken from Rex Reservoir of an ongoing theft situation. 12:54 p.m., a report was taken from David Way of finding a 5-gallon bucket of marijuana which was taken for destruction. And 1:30 p.m., a report was taken from South Fork Yuba River of theft of a mining claim dredge. And 2:05 p.m., a report was taken from 10,000 block of Washington Road of a possible fight with shots between a man and a woman. The report was unfounded. And 2:13 p.m., a woman from Singing Hills Court reported a man came in her bedroom, touched her, and kissed her while she was ill and bedridden. And 2:33 p.m., a report was taken from 18,000 block of Foxtail Drive of losing firearm 5 years ago. Nicely called. 3:36 p.m., a report was taken from 12,000 block of Madrona Leaf Court of promiscuous shooting. 3:45 p.m., a report was taken from West Hacienda Drive of possible abused horse. And 3:52 p.m., a woman from East Drive reported her daughter threatened her with a knife. And 4:57 p.m., a man from 14,000 block of Caroline Way reported having a verbal dispute with his wife, and she was sitting on the hood of his car to prevent him from leaving. She then got off the car. 5:03 p.m., a caller reported he was trying to choke the woman in the vehicle. Report was taken. And 6:31 p.m., a report was taken from 11,000 block of Highway 174 of loud screaming. It was over dogs fighting. And 7:41 p.m., a report was taken from 15,000 block of Pammy Way of a possible residential burglary. Might have been a small animal. And 10:28 p.m., a report was taken from 12,000 block of Forest Ranch Road of a possible fight with a possible gunshot heard. It was verbal only. At 11:03 p.m., a report was taken from 2900 block of Highway 49 of a vehicle hit a gas pump. And Thursday, 1:11 a.m., a report was taken from Main and Broad Street of a traffic accident. Man was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence. And 2:59 a.m., a report was taken from 13,000 block of Greenhorn Road of hearing screaming and a gunshot. And Nevada City Police Department, Wednesday, Wednesday, oh, that's when it was. 10:18 a.m., a report was taken from 400 block of Gracie Road of a theft from a vehicle. And 1:32 p.m., a report was taken from 700 block of Zion Street of two women in a physical fight. And 2:25 p.m., a report was taken from Callanan Park of people drinking beer and skateboarding in the park. And that's it for the blotter today. Now, another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got them. You like international style lunches? They got them. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, Italian Festa 2012 was a great event this year, and NCTV looking for support with a comedy movie. Last weekend we had a lot on our plate. We went to Western Gateway Park to Italian Festa 2012, which was a 2-day event. Vendors galore and a great venue of entertainment was at this event this year, and I hope you didn't miss it. If you did, they have a DVD available. We videotaped and edited another Grass Valley television production, and will be available on our channel at some point at grassvalleytelevision.com. We will be putting on a short segment on our news next week. Frank Ricci headlined, and Chris Gardner, the Dean Martin look-alike singer, was also there, and the Don Giovanni dancers and the band Italica, which always has great songs. Plenty of wine, food, and bocce court was going strong, starting at 8 a.m. and all through both days. The bocce ball court is permanent down at the park, so if you have an interest, just contact the Italian Festa people. Camelia Pistilla sang some opera, and the Bambino dancers delighted the crowd. This is a yearly event, so put on your September calendar for next year and bring your friends and whole family. The Neo was down there for the youth of the area and had an area for kids to play. And as usual, they had a drawing for a free trip to Italy. Didn't see Tony Soprano, but he might have been there wearing sunglasses. The Friends of NCTV are hosting a September 22nd, that's Amora night, movie night, on an Italian-style event that will be placed at the Via della Rosa in Penn Valley and featuring Lawrence Kasdan's comedy I Love You to Death with Kevin Kline and Tracy Ullman. Tickets are $20 per person, including appetizers, glass of wine or beer, pizza, salad, popcorn. Movie Under the Stars fundraising event will support the rebuilding of NCTV's television production studio with electrical and studio lighting. They hope to raise $2,000 to help with the studio operations, stated Sharon Rose, Digital Media Center board member and event co-chair. This is top priority so we can keep our local public access going. We're going to need support from the community. This spring, Nevada County Digital Media Center, NCTV, moved into Nevada City Tech Park at Providence Mine Road. In short time since moving, NCTV has set up services for producers and members to use, including editing bays, and a one-man studio will soon be available. Equipment rack used for programming was re-engineered to make daily broadcasting more stable. NCTV will also be offering classes this fall for video marketing. NCTV programs can be seen Comcast Channel 11, Suddenlink 16. Government programming is available Comcast 17. Programs are also streamed live at the web, NevadaCountyTV.org. Producers and members make up the Friends of NCTV. Group is looking to do additional fundraising for the studio remodel. That's Amora Night is set for 6 p.m. September 22nd. Tickets are available Briar Patch Co-op and Harmony Books. For tickets, you can always call Sharon Rose, 530-432-7817. That's 432-7817. For information about the Digital Media Center, NCTV membership, you can also call 530-470-0727 or visit NevadaCountyTV.org. Our last story today is out of Washington, actually D.C., so it's not really local, but away from the front lines of the political theater and under the radar controversial documentary on President Barack Obama, 2016, the Obama America has done a last 8 weeks quietly surged to the top 10 box office and becomes the second highest grossing political documentary ever. The film recently expanded to more than 2,000 screens. It has raked in $26 million. It ranks 9th nationally in box office in the weekend of September 8th and 9th. Man behind the controversial Obama movie is conservative scholar Dinesh D'Souza. He claims that Obama embraced the D'Souza calls the anti-colonial views of the president Kenya's father, and in second Obama administration, which explains the title 2016, he would change America's standing in the world. He wants to downsize America, D'Souza said. The documentary has galvanized many Republicans. Some, like Texan U.S. Senate candidate Ted Cruz, are holding screen fundraisings. D'Souza's claims have also faced some heavy criticism. Fact check of the film by the Associated Press said that many of them don't hold water. D'Souza has disputed the criticism. I haven't seen the movie, but I heard it was pretty good. White House and the Obama campaign have ignored the movie, of course, and its unexpected success. Post September 5th, the Obama campaign website Truth Team blasted it and for deliberate distortion. Well, President Obama and his record, you can read between the lines yourself. I don't think you need a movie. Documentary was timed to be released leading to the November election, but Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 was meant to impact the 2004 election for its anti-President George W. Bush message when he was running for re-election. Fahrenheit 9/11 is the most successful documentary of all time, earning more than $120 million. The Obama film has been out for 8 weeks, a longer shelf life than normal, said film expert and industry veteran Eric Sherman. He said it used to be 6 weeks, then 4 weeks. Now moderately successful movies have 2 weeks. Other than Michael Moore, this is the only political-oriented documentary that I've heard people talk of. It's becoming a phenomenon. Hollywood did embrace former Vice President Al Gore's documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, on global warming, the third highest grossing political documentary. But the 2016 overtook its with and Sicko, Moore's film about healthcare industry. According to D'Souza, the 2016 movie, which cost him and investors $2.5 million to make and $10 million to market, will remain by contract in theaters until October 15th, and afterwards will be available on DVD, possibly sold to foreign distributors. The movie is basically broken into 3 parts, a comparison between D'Souza's own upbringing in India and his Ivy League education and Obama's visit to important sites in the president's life, including Hawaii, Indonesia, and Kenya, and a look at people in Obama's life and their alleged influence on his decisions as president. The film website Rotten Tomatoes reported 2016 had just 30% positive average rating from critics, but a nearly 80% positive reaction from audience. McClatchy, a Tribune News Service columnist Roger Moore, called the film a psycho-political hatchet job by an ex-Reaganite. Anyway, that's it for today. Talk to you next week. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Foothills Report, the Union, local law enforcement, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Remember, we are the only visual video news media in Nevada County, and we are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have local stories and would like to have them aired on our news, please